What a day. What a day. Let me tell you, it's been kind of amazing here. What was that? My gosh. Welcome back. It is February 6th, 2018. My name is Jeff Fritz. Welcome back to my live coding stream. Um I'm still recovering from the Super Bowl. It was amazing. I am thrilled with the results. Um gosh. What can I tell you? It has been just an amazing weekend here in Philadelphia. Um, what do we got? I see some tweets out there, folks asking, "Hey, what's going on?" Eagles talk begins. See this be sad. Isaac says, "You know what? I need a second or two to put on my face here. I want to look fine for you." No, I am I am still in recovery mode. Yes, Philly, Philly. Thank you, Bruno. Absolutely. It has been quite the weekend. Oh my gosh. So, in case you didn't know, in case it wasn't clear, my team won. We are ecstatic. The city has gone bonkers. There's always a few knuckleheads out there. But you know what? We're thrilled. I am absolutely thrilled. My team won. For the first time in almost 60 years, our football team in this town won. Generations of folks, literally, have been waiting to see this. And yeah, you know what? It was a little emotional for me. My uh, family members that I grew up and they taught me to love football. They're not around anymore, and it was huge. It's for this city. It felt so very similar to what the folks in Chicago felt when their Cubs won. So, uh, all right. Let's see. How was it nice to buy that hat? Oh, it was very nice. I did not mind spending that money at all. Let me tell you. And the shirt. Got the shirt. Right there you go. So that's about that's about as far as I'm going to go with that today. I have some updates that I want to go over, and then I want to start taking a look at what we can do here on our project because I had an interesting question come in, and I want to look at. Wow, look at that, folks! Looking up exactly how much I spent on my hat and shirt. Yeah, all right, that's a couple bucks. You know what? And this happens once in 60 years. You know what? I'm gonna spend a couple bucks. I'm gonna be happy about that. So, um, first off, let's go over here to. So this is my guest page on the Fritz live stream GitHub repository, right? If you have any questions, any updates, anything that I want to do with managing the stream, um, you can find that here, right? And this is part of me being transparent, being open with you, because as I always say when I start off these streams, this isn't about me telling you how to write code. This is about us learning how to write code together. This is about pair programming, and when I bring on guests, so that we can work together to learn something and benefit not just the hosts, but you in the chat room as well. I want to make sure that I'm very responsive to you folks in the chat room, to all of our followers, and to folks who even want to go take that extra step and subscribe. Absolutely, go ahead and join us. I'm going to be transparent with all of you folks. There's a Discord out there if you want to hang out afterwards, chat a little bit. I pay attention to the Discord a couple times a day. I'll jump in there and we'll see us talk about some of the projects that we're working on here on stream. Let's see. Oh, there's my friend Max. Max, I'm terrible at pronouncing your last name. I know it's French. Max Roulier. Did I pronounce that right? True story. Max is one of the first friends that I made as an ASP.NET Insider before I became an MVP in 2013. In 2012, oh, thank you. I was an ASP.NET Insider, and it was my first time on Redmond campus. I had no idea who any of these folks were. I didn't know Scott Hanselman didn't know who I was from whoever. Certainly Scott Hunter, some of these other folks, they didn't really know who I was. I was looking for a seat to sit down, and I went and I sat down next to this French Canadian guy, and I'm like, all right, we're talking about this, that, and he was extremely friendly, welcomed me, I felt very comfortable talking to him, and as somebody new to an event like that with all these folks, that it was really intimidating to see, be in the same room as a Dan Wallin and a Jesse Liberty and a John Papa and some of these folks. It was like, holy crow, look where I am. And it was, very kind. Thank you, Max. And in MVP Summit since, we would sit together and we would talk about this, that, and the other thing. So, like me, Max now is an employee, and we're really lucky to have him. Great guy. So, awesome stuff. So, let's see, what do we got here? It's really rough. The Lakers won 10 championships in my lifetime. It's hard keeping up. Yeah, and you know what? Our Philadelphia teams, since 1980, have won 3 championships. Phillies in 80, Sixers in 83, Phillies in 2008, and now Eagles here in 2018, which is kind of interesting. Everything's on the 8s here in Philadelphia. And in 1980, right, we almost pulled off winning everything in every sport because we had the Eagles in the Super Bowl, Phillies in the World Series, Flyers in the Stanley Cup Finals, and Sixers in the NBA Finals. They lost to the Lakers that year. Everybody lost except for the Phillies. So Villanova certainly has won a few. They won in 1985. They won again in 2015. That's a college team. Looking at the pro sports. Anyways. CS Andreas, the application I have to develop should be available through Moodle of a university course, and only students registered for the course will use it. Obviously, it'll be built with PHP. Moodle's an interesting application, an interesting platform to build for. I haven't done it myself, but I've had my challenges. My daughters use Moodle. Okay, I felt the same way when the Royals finally made it to the playoffs for the first time in 30 years. Gosh, and the Royals are who my Phillies beat back in 1980. And also won it all the following year. It's a great feeling. It absolutely is. Thank you, JR, for chiming in on that. Let's see. Big contrast between Canada and Philly. Great stream. Keep going. Okay, the 83 Sixers. Villanova won a few. Just need the Chiefs to do something. I'm so sorry. Evidently, they need to fire Andy Reid and hire his offensive coordinator a few years later. JR, I'm going to tell you, in Kansas City with Andy Reid, told you so. Andy Reid is conservative to a fault. Okay. The only Scott is here. No, that's the blue-collar Scott. Scott Addy is here. Great to see you, Scott. And Scott's a good friend from back when we were both MVPs, and now we're both employees, too. All right. So this is the GitHub repository where I want to be transparent and show you everything that's going on. I've even uploaded some of the images that I use now. I put some header banners on the Twitch stream so that the dashboard looks a little bit classier. And actually, take a look at this. Come on, go ahead, open. I use the Overwatch font. Yeah, that's right. I might need to make that a little bit smaller, but I use the Overwatch font. I think it looks cool. But I started putting together a list of guests and what folks who are interested in being guests can do to sign up to let me know if they're interested. So I did book. I have a couple more guests on the books here. I originally talked to Brendan, and we were going to do a unit testing stream today, and I completely forgot to put it on the schedule. My apologies, Brendan, if you're watching. So we're going to have him on Thursday. And we're going to talk about unit testing and try and get a little bit more structure around some of my unit tests that we have here. I have a tech check and project planning call with Brendan tomorrow, and we'll nail down exactly what we're going to talk about. Oren Novotny from New York, we're going to talk about .NET Standard and PCLs. Some folks have had some good questions about when should I use .NET Standard? How do I update to .NET Standard, an existing portable class library? So we're going to look at that on the 15th. So next week, we'll be looking at that. The workshop, I'm looking at February 16th. I'm waiting for confirmations from some folks. I'm sending out a couple emails, make sure that everybody's on board with that. And we're looking at Friday, February 16th. I've got a lot of folks. I've got as many as 8 guests that are going to be joining me throughout the day on that day. It's a lot to coordinate, and that's why it's taking me a little bit longer here. I want to make sure that everybody's on board. And if you were watching Twitter during the Super Bowl, the boss said that if our Eagles won, he would come on the stream wearing a Carson Wentz jersey. So look for Scott Hunter during that stream wearing a Carson Wentz jersey. It's going to be great. This is going to be a lot of fun. All the source code will be available on GitHub, of course. That's the only way I do these things. But we'll be pair programming with our guests. You in the chat room, grab your friends, tell them to come on in for this. It's going to be a day-long event, not just an hour or two of me running my mouth. And we're going to have a lot of fun learning how to build an application. It'll be a great intro for folks who haven't done ASP.NET Core. Maybe you're testing it out. Maybe you're trying to figure out where you want to go with this. Does .NET Core make sense for your organization? We'll talk about all of that stuff, and we'll have a cool application at the end of it. Maria Nagaga, my colleague Maria, is going to join us on the 17th. That's Saturday the 17th, and we're going to talk about Try.net. So Try.net is a cool application that her team is building to allow you to use .NET in the browser and learn how to program .NET. And there's already some tight integration with docsmicrosoft.com. We showed a little bit of that on our stream with Myra back here on the 25th. So you can see a little bit of what's going on and is available now back here. But Maria's doing some really cool stuff with Try.net. My good friend Rich Ross is going to join us on February 20th. We're going to talk a little bit about I'm drinking more caffeine than I can handle. We're going to talk a little bit about Azure Cognitive Services, and we're going to start building a moderation bot. I've actually got some folks from my marketing team looking to help me out. We're going to get some things all set up, and that's going to be really, really cool. Oh gosh, I've missed a lot of stuff going on here in the chat room. Joe Bond, the only real sport is motorsport. You know what? F1 is pretty amazing. You're onto something there. The only Scott is here. There's so many Scotts at Microsoft. Scott Hanselman, Scott Hunter, Scott Guthrie, Scott Addy. I used to have a Scott that worked on my team when we were on NuGet. And I can't remember his name, and forgive me, Scott. Trying to convince Max to change his name to Scott. Nice. And there are heavy hitters there. What's interesting, in my supervisory chain, I've got either Scotts or people whose first name starts with J, the whole way up. Scott, John, Julia, Scott, Satya. It's like, oh, look at that. Let's see, what do we got here? That will be amazing. A red one, though. A red one? A red one. The red Scott. I don't think I'm going to be able to recruit the red-shirted Scott. Yes, but the Scott show would be kind of fun. All right. Hanselman has a funny comment yeah, Scott Hunter, Scott Guthrie, Scottia Nadal. Yeah. So those are the guests that I have currently on the book. If you're interested in joining me on stream, drop me a line, and we'll talk about what we can do and where we can plug in to the schedule here. So looking at the bar up top, we're at 652 followers, closing in on 1,000. We get to 1,000, and I will host a 4-hour, almost like a call-in talk show, helpme.net. So any questions you have about .net, we'll let you call in. I'll set up Skype so that folks will be able to call in, and we'll answer your questions. And really, it'll be help me solve these problems live about .net on stream. Twitch does not handle Newline well. Well, there's Twitch, and it's also feeding through Restream. So the chat that you see over there, that's from Restream.io. It's being mapped in and placed on the screen so you can see that unified chat room from both Mixer and Twitch. All right. And I'm kind of looking at that event list over there, and I saw some other folks get added. That added me over the last couple days, and they didn't quite, it hasn't refreshed yet over here, and I'm wondering what's going on with that. Let me see here. Event lists, refresh cache. Nope, it's still the same list. That's weird. Okay, not going to worry about it. No new issues came in here. Yeah, I'm waiting for Imo to come back, and we'll talk about scheduling something to talk about span, because there's a lot going on there with span of T. I had a number of questions come in about configuration builders, and I want to review and take a look at this. So there were Questions here about the YAML builder, and in particular, getting the configuration builders to work with application settings. So I want to go over this briefly and take a look at some of the questions that Christian had here and show you some samples, because some of this feels like it doesn't work quite right, but you can make it work. So let's take a look at that. That's not where I want to be. Let's make sure. How likely are you to recommend Docker for Windows to a friend? Of course I am. Everybody should be using this. I'm showing it on my live video stream right now. So, you think? All right, there we go. All right. Opening Visual Studio 2017. If it works. I know, sometimes Docker for Windows gets a little cranky for me. All right, let's take a look. Recent projects and solutions, configuration builders. Configuration builders, for those of you who haven't seen me talk about this, is a new feature in .NET Framework 4.7.1 that allows you to add configuration to your application, to your standard configuration manager interactions, without having to go and refactor a bunch of your application. You don't have to rewrite code. You can still continue to access all of your configuration settings by accessing things like Configuration Manager app settings, right? You don't need to rewrite these things because you can just pull in configuration from somewhere else. Sure, you can say environment dot get environment variable and go get an environment variable, right? You can do that. But why go and rewrite all of your code to go and inspect and figure this out when we can just have a configuration builder that'll bring that in for you and overlay the current settings? So we wrote on stream a way to read any files, a way to read an RSS feed, and a way to read a YAML file, right? YAML is that configuration format that looks like JSON but doesn't actually have any markup, right? Looks like this. Right? App settings, and then because there's spaces here, it knows that these separate lines, because they're indented underneath of it, that they're a child element of app settings, right? So it'd be kind of cool to be able to reference and use these settings, if that's the way that your organization prefers to manage configuration, be able to use those inside your application. Now, I pushed a build of this, 0.4 is what I labeled it, up to NuGet.org, so you can try that out if you want to use YAML as a configuration option for your .NET application. And it's real easy to use. I have a sample project that's embedded in the GitHub repository, and you declare a section, you add a entry that says here's the configuration builder I want to use, the file name that I want to use. There's a mode that goes along with it. Oh, look at this, config sys. You're killing me here, Jobun. Actually, isn't config sys a little bit like an ini file? It might work. Okay. And you specify on the section you want to inject those settings. You use the config builders attribute, and you specify exactly which ones you want to inject those settings. Now, you can specify a comma separated list, and last one in wins. So if YAML 1 and YAML 2 have the same configuration parameter name, the value that's in YAML 2 will overwrite and be the value that survives in my app settings. All right, so that's the basics of how this works. Now, we had a request to be able to do sections and be able to say, I want to include this section. So you can include a section attribute here, and that will grab the values from inside this section and apply those to our app settings. So when we run this, here it comes. There we go. So it's pulling in the settings from the two different YAML files that I have. And then here's, right, if there's a conflict, it brings in that other value, the second value. And then here are those settings from within that section. Simple, right? Not too complex to do. But what I wanted to show and what other folks have asked about is there's a mode that comes with the base configuration builder. And the base configuration builders, we're in the middle of making those open source. I'm waiting for the legal team to sign off on the paperwork. It's almost done. But lawyers. You can use on this mode, there's greedy, strict, and expand. By default, it's strict. Only if the value matches. Only if the parameter name matches will it overwrite. Greedy says, go get all the values and add them to this section. So even though I don't have any app settings defined, this says, go create app settings for whatever's inside this file. That kind of makes sense. It's a way for me to create settings without actually having to define them ahead of time. And also, this fails silently. If this file doesn't exist, it'll just it'll just fail silently. It's not required to be. Actually, I think I have a required element. Where'd it go? Optional. There it is. So you can specify whether or not that file exists is optional. All right. And by default, it's not optional, right? So you can say, go ahead, if this doesn't exist, fail. Don't fail, right? But the point is, I've updated and brought in configuration to my application without actually changing any of my files that ship along with it. I've added a DLL next to it. I've changed my configuration, and my application is compiled and just keeps on working. Now, the last method that type of mode I mentioned is expand. So it looks like this, okay? So I have expand and simple YAML, and simple YAML for this project looks like this. Setting 1, setting 2, setting conflict coming from YAML 1. Now, I can expand those settings by using this type of notation, right? Dollar curly brace, the name of the value I want to inject, end curly brace. And by doing that, what'll happen is this will literally do a text replace. It'll look for this token and replace it with that value. Now, the question that I got was, well, can I use this with application settings? Now, application settings is a feature in Windows Forms that allows you to store those settings across the entire application here in your app config file, and then these are made available. Let's see, let me open up that class. Through properties, settings, default. All right. So this just gets loaded for you. And all you have to do is add the config builders element on your inside element here. Inside of application settings, you add that to this element, and we'll do that replace on the values. All right. Don't try and do this with static or greedy. You're going to need to actually define these, because the settings, this is something that .NET is building for you. The tools build that. And if I look, where is it? Up here, there's my settings. You'll actually see it writes out a C# file that manages the interaction with this. Digital Drummer J. Welcome, Digital Drummer. The check marks and the minuses, what are they that we see over here on the side of Visual Studio? Thanks for asking the question. I appreciate you joining us there in the chat room. What that is, that's a feature of Visual Studio 2017 Enterprise that will run my unit tests for me on the fly. Let me open one here. And it will show you if your unit tests are passing. If all the unit tests came through, executed this line of code, and they were all successful, you get a red check. If there are no unit tests that cross that line, 0 tests executed, you get a minus. If the test failed for whatever reason, you end up with if any of the tests failed, you'll end up with a red X. All right, so that's what's going on there, and you can see those tests they're running here inside my test explorer. They're behind my fat head there. There you go. So there's my tests. They're all green, and we're pretty happy about that. Let's see. Yeah, all right. So I don't want to be in there. I want to be over here, so it's next to me. So everybody can see my tests. All right. Let me hide that for now. So that's what's going on with that. It's a great tool. There's other tools that'll do that for you, but this comes with Visual Studio if you buy the Enterprise SKU. And a lot of folks get the Enterprise SKU because it comes with their MSDN subscription, or I guess we call it Visual Studio subscription now. Whatever. All right. You know, I'm wondering. Part of me is wondering, is Streamlabs even updating here for me? Because I haven't seen anything come through. I'm worrying. I'm worrying here. Let's take a quick peek over at Streamlabs. Because Streamlabs is what I use for some of these widgets that you see on screen. Let's take a quick peek over here. Because I don't see these things updating. I want to make sure that it's updating for me. Right? Otherwise it's going to be boring. No, that's 3 days ago, but I saw some new ones come through for me. There we go. Look at that. There's a ton of new ones, including Node Botanist and Arthur. Is that like Arthur, but Thor? So, not quite sure why they're not showing up over here. There we go. That'll refresh a little bit. Solve the split panel move. Solved the split panel move in Visual Studio yet, Jeff? Yes. So this is all right. I don't need to look at that anymore. So the problem that I keep running into is if I drag this, sometimes on stream it just doesn't go, but it looks like it is now. I did apply the latest update to Visual Studio. I think this is 15.5.6. So I've applied the latest patch, and it looks like it's working now. And Joe Bun's picking on me because I always run into this where I flick that vertical bar and nothing happens. So the final word about the configuration builders. This works. This works great for your Windows Form stuff. So if you wanted to make an RSS configuration builder here, you could effectively deploy updates to all of your configuration settings by using RSS, point it to a central configuration server, and then consuming those settings down here, and you can restructure how everybody's application works the next time they log in. That's pretty cool when you think about that, right? Be able to deploy those settings from a central server. It's something that folks who do a lot of DDD work and CQRS, where they want to have a central configuration that they deploy to all their microservices. You can do that. DJ Vortex, is the VS team accepting feature requests on Visual Studio 2015? No. No. They're not doing feature requests on Visual Studio 2015. They're really heads down working on and building more releases of Visual Studio 2017, right? And if you look at this, right, we're at 15.5.6. If you do the preview installs of Visual Studio, right? So if you look at your installer down here and you wait for it to open, there's a preview channel in here that you can choose to install tools from, and that's on the 15.6 stream. And I've got some folks at the office that are already talking about what do we do and what goes into a 15.7. So there's discussion about what that might be. I don't know if we're going to do a 15.7 or if we're going to say, you know what, let's start planning for the next one. That's to be determined. Joe Bun says the 2017 preview is getting better and better. Terrific. I'm glad you're enjoying it. The 2017 preview, for those of you who can't afford Enterprise, and that's okay. You don't have to buy Enterprise. It's free to get the Community Edition. If you want to try the Enterprise version, you can get the preview and use that for free. Now you're going to have to do the updates to make sure you're on the latest, but you can get the Enterprise Edition for free. You are going to end up giving us some telemetry back on how you're using it, but that's pretty cheap consolation for being able to use the tools for free. So that's all I wanted to show and talk about with the configuration builders, because there was a lot going on there that folks had questions about that I wanted to make sure we covered. Now I want to go over to Stream Tools. Now Stream Tools is our ASP.NET Core sample project we've been working on, and I want to take a look and discuss a couple things that are going on in here before we dig into some of the pull requests and answer a question that we had about the project. So I'm going to go into my dev Fritz Stream Tools, and I use the dev folder here as the root of all my development work. So I have one place that I can back up stuff if I want to, and also it keeps my command my path really short, right? Because by default, Visual Studio wants to save into C users JFritz Visual Studio 2017/projects. It's huge. This gets me in and I can find it quickly. I just have to remember dev. Everybody remembers dev. I'm going to run PowerShell here so I can start posh git and get the cool markup that tells me exactly what's going on inside my project. Let's run a quick git status. Everything's up to date, and I can actually tell that by this 3-bar glyph here inside my prompt. So what I want to show is I had a question about how to build some reusable user interface components in ASP.NET Core. And actually, let me come back over here. Let's look at TweetDeck, because we love TweetDeck. Let's shrink that a little bit because I want to hide a couple of those. And yeah, thanks, Isaac. I appreciate you torching me here on this. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down here. Where is it? There it was. So Ward asked, where'd it go? Where's Ward's question? Here we go. Come on. I want to make sure I bring that up. Think about using a custom action filter to create a common header or footer in an MVC app. Thoughts, crazy idea, or better options? So that was his question, and that's pretty simple question. I just want to go through that real quick here. Do I happen to have a blog post on how I set up my PowerShell prompt with posh git? I use ddev, makes me feel like a real dev. How did I set up posh git? Do I have that on? You know what? I think I have it on the live stream. Did I put it here? I have a link to my blog in the post where I actually talk about how I've got this set up. Do I have mention? No, I don't mention it. Posh git's really easy to get. I thought. It's real easy to get and install. If you just look it up, it's right here, and there's a couple of very simple steps to install it. And it makes your life a heck of a lot easier. So, super easy to install, yeah. Yeah, Digital Drummer J. These instructions are really easy. I should link to them at some point. Where is it? README. Let's do that right here, right now. Just because I don't want to forget this. Current projects. Let's see. I want to do star. Jeff uses posh git to make the PowerShell prompt easier to navigate while working with Git repositories. There we go. And posh git, we need to make that a link, so we'll do that. Copy that. Added posh git. There you go. Cool. All right. And now there's a link out to posh git. Terrific. So thanks for the question. Check that out. All right. So how do we do? Much easier than I expected. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Digital Drummer. I use work, might change to dev to become a real pro. You know what? Um, Depending on where you are, work makes sense. Absolutely. I blur the lines between work and personal projects way too much. So, to each his own. I tried the Posh Git thing for PS, could not get it to work. Oh, it's amazing. You do need to have administrative rights when you first set it up. So, um, Sky Hoshi, I tell you, look at that joke. All right, let's answer that question. Do I want to use an action filter, or do I want to use something else to reuse some parts of my user interface? You should check out my video series on how to manage Visual Studio projects using VHDX. Now that's just rough. VHDX. For those of you that don't know what he's referring to, VHDX are virtual hard drives. And you pass those around, and it's effectively having a virtual machine that just runs Visual Studio. All right. So an action filter, let's talk about this question. Do I want to use an action filter or some other reusable component? So an action filter is something, the easiest way to show it is inside of a controller. And if I go, see these right here, these attributes? Underneath the scenes, these are what are called action filters. And what they do is they filter or change the behavior of this action method inside of MVC. So you can write your own and be able to interact and change the behavior of these things. Or, right, all they do is they give you the ability to say, before this method executes, do this, or after this method executes, do that. And in fact, you can do the same thing by overriding here inside the controller by handling these on action executed, on action executing, or on action execution async. And doing something with these, right? So executing says handle this before the action method is called. On action executed says call this after a method is invoked. And when you do that here inside this, right, I can actually say context dot, and I can inspect exactly what's going on and determine whether to proceed, whether to change some things that are coming out in the result. All kinds of different things that you can do with it. So what Ward was trying to figure out what to do was, do I write one of these and inject my own code here? This is a lot of C#. And if you're modifying output HTML to put in a header or a footer, that's a lot of code, a lot of C# to write, and it's going to feel unnatural to start assembling HTML here. So let's take a look at some other ways that you can do it. And you can, right, to be clear, you can add those filters, right, those attributes as another class, right? Public class my action filter, and this inherits from iAction filter, or action filter attribute is even better, right? And then I can override, and I've got a whole bunch of different things. And there's those same methods. On action executed, on action executing, and I can even go into the result and inspect those and do different things to that here inside my code. Now, this might work great for you if you want to add things like headers, or you want to change the format of something coming out, right? If you wanted to write something that said, you know what, let's change this and let's make it Excel formatted. You can do that. You can write one of these, and then because you have this filter here, right, you can come down and on this, just write my action filter, and ASP.NET will apply whatever event handlers you put inside that class to just this method. Now you can also put that on the class as well, or you can create what's called a global action filter. You declare that inside of your startup method, and it'll apply to everything. All right. Now, that's how we do things like authorize across the entire application and say you must be logged in order to access everything. All right. So let me clean those up, because for user interface work, I don't like that. I don't think that's the right solution for the question. there's other ways to do this. We talked briefly about tag helpers, and we started writing a tag helper over here, SignalR tag helper, so that you could output a script tag for the SignalR tag inside your code. Not bad. I can package this up. It's a C# class. I can package it up and I can deploy it easily. And it's reusable. It's deployable. That's not bad. But it still feels, if you're doing something like a header that you're going to repeat on every page, it feels clumsy. It feels like something that I don't necessarily want to use. Now, the prescriptive way and the way that things come out when you use the default templates with ASP.NET is they'll create a layout page. And I don't have a layout page in this project yet. So let's add a layout page. So I'm going to add I need to add a new folder, and I'm going to call it shared. Now, views inside of my application, inside of my MVC application, let's collapse up some of these things so you can see my views folder here. And it's still not moving up. Move up! Can you see it? It's there above my head now. All right. So views are resolved when a controller goes to resolve the views. It looks inside a views folder for a folder that has the same name as the controller. So if I look at this and I navigate down here, right? So this is looking for, it says return view, and it's passing in some model information, but I'm not actually telling it where to find it. It's looking for a view in the followers folder, because this is followers controller, so it looks over here. And then it's by default is going to look for a view called goal, and there's goal CSHTML there. So that's what it's looking for by default. We also created this one called preview goal that just returns a view, and it sits over here and it helps me do review. It helps me preview stuff. Let's see, what do we got here? Some questions in the chat room. You should check out my video series. I just tried Choco install PoshGit from the admin PowerShell. It says, get tools location is not recognized as the name of a commandlet. It will never succeed. That feels bad. Make sure you're on the latest version on PowerShell. There is a PowerShell version requirement there. You may need to update your PowerShell version. Just double check that. I know I had to update. I had an update coming from mine. Got PoshGit all set up, Chocolatey install, took care of all the work. Okay, so Joe Bun's having a little bit of a problem. And Digital Drummer, he's able to get it working. So there's something there. All right, so this will look for something called preview goal, because that's the name of the method and it's right there. I also have one here that has the same method name, goal, and I told it to return a view, and I passed in a string name. By default, this is the name of the view that it'll go find, and because I specified a name, docs goal, it goes and finds this. Now, you can create a shared folder, and if it doesn't find that view in this folder, it'll go look in a shared folder by default. Now, I'm actually going to create inside the shared folder. I'm going to add a view, and I'm going to create layout. Now, I use the underscore in front of it so that by default, an action method can't trigger this. You're going to need to explicitly call it out. And let's see, so it's empty. I don't want to have it use a template. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and create it. And there it is. So now I have a layout page, right? And the layout page, this is the layout. So I shouldn't have to say layout equals null. That doesn't actually exist. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I can put all the things in here, right? Tools for streamers by streamers. All right. And inside my layout, I use a command. Where is it? I want to say render body. And it's not there. I'm forgetting something here. Let's go let's go look at one of my other web projects and just take a peek and see what I'm missing, because I know how to do this. Let's see. I'm going to go into... Gosh, let's find a good one. Let's go into Photo Gallery. And I'm going to go into Source. Let's see. There we go. Right? Oh, he's in Pages. Haha, he did this with Pages, but it's the same thing. More layout. Spell more right. What? Underscore layout. Rats. Alright. So up at the top, yeah. Underscore layout, at view data, at render section, and down here somewhere it does at render body. That's what I thought. So there it is, at render body, and for some reason it doesn't like that. We'll fix him. Alright. I don't need a semi after that. Alright, good. Yes, I like tabs. Give me tabs. The other thing that I need here is a view start. And a view start is something that sits up at the top. View start. And looks good. And a view start is a very simple page that just does some things to set up a little bit of our configuration. And including sets up this variable layout. So it points to my layout page. So let's do that. Inside view start, I don't need all of this. And right off the get-go, I'm going to say layout equals underscore layout. So now, dot CSHTML. There we go. So now every page in my application is going to use this layout. All right. Cool. I'm glad to see you guys are helping each other with that install of PoshGit. You know what? I didn't even start the music today. Oh my gosh. What am I thinking? I didn't start music. I'm going to start Purple. This is Purple from Music to Code by our friend Carl Franklin, who graciously gave us permission to use his music here on stream. All right. There we go. That's better. How's the music? Is that good? Is that nice? Belated congrats. Thank you. Comical Garlic 68. Thank you. I appreciate that. If there were only an extension to automatically start music when you were coding. I know. For those of you that don't know, DJ Vortex wrote an extension that sits here in Visual Studio and plays music for you. Is that updated? Gosh, I could install that and use that. Extensions and updates. Online. Not Epic Build Music, that's the one that I wrote. Right, I thought it was like Media Player. Visual Studio Media Player. I already have it installed. Fantastic. Look at that, 77 downloads, perfect 5 stars. It's amazing. Go and download it now. Visual Studio Media Player. So I should be able to... Right? Look at this. So I can go find and build playlists. Music to code by, there you go. Ride of the Valkyrie while building. You can do that, actually, with the Epic Build music. Right? What's this erroring out? That's okay, we'll get back to that. View imports. I think I need to add something else to view imports. Let's add this one. Let's add the default tag helper so we get that. You know what? Let me move that down. There we go. All right. Stop posting links. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I hope that it wasn't you celebrating the Super Bowl with Equine. No. No organic IT. No. No, no, no. I have 2 horses. No, would never do that. Oh, it's mtcb.pwop.com. I should relax some of that link posting, but yeah. Nightbot is a little. See, this is why I need to write a bot. Nightbot gets a little aggressive with some of that. This is still a little grouchy over here. Type or namespace link does not exist where? We'll figure that out. All right. So I added my view start. I have a layout, and yeah. This is going to build, and it's actually going to have now a layout that it applies to all of my pages. I don't really want it on all of my pages. I don't like my count. I don't want it to use somebody else's layout, nor on my goal where I'm actually building, right, those widgets up at the top. I don't want to have all that stuff. Music to Code by Red Track is my favorite. It is. I really like Red, but I like to bounce around and use different ones here. And I'm going to get to this in just a little bit, because we did some cool things with Google Fonts. My docs goal, though, I do want it to use my new layout. Right, so now I can get rid of some of this other stuff. Go down to the bottom, and I can get rid of this. And now I can focus on just putting that content in the middle of my page. My preview, I need to make sure that this one isn't using that layout. So I'm going to just stick a element up here and say layout equals null. There we go. Is that La Geek or LA Geek? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. And good morning, Steve. Always a pleasure to see you. You're LA Clippers. Maybe LA Geek is a fan of your LA Clippers, Steve. And way to go trading. Oh my gosh, who did they trade? The Clippers traded somebody. Good morning, Playing with Scissors. Great to see you. How's it going? My team won the Super Bowl, so everything's amazing now. It's a new day. Nothing, and it does not work. What doesn't work? Oh, the PowerShell install module. Ooh. You could write a bot, but Streamlabs recently acquired AnkBot, which can be approved with Python. Sure, absolutely. But I'm a .NET guy. I want to learn how to use some of the .NET tools. There's absolutely bots out there. There's widgets out there you can use. I want to learn how to do this myself and expand my knowledge base, right? The best way to learn some of these things, in my opinion, is get dirty. Build it yourself. Break things. Don't break it too bad. But yeah. Just got back from an interview. Interesting position. I might be the perfect candidate for it, but it sounds fun for at least a few months. It's really hot outside. Well, good luck to you playing with Scissors. Let us know how it goes, and you know, I hope you get the position you applied for there. So, to finish here, this layout only applies to the things within views. It doesn't apply to pages. If you want to do shared components inside pages, you can put items over there. Horfdan, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate the follow. I'm going to be shoveling snow later. Oh, break things. Last word of a married man. Yes, well, break things in a place and in a safe environment where you can't anger people like the wife, because that would be bad. My preview goal page here, I actually think I'd like this, right? This is actually my configuration page. That's a bad name for it, isn't it? No, wait a sec. Right? Yeah, this is my configuration page. So that feels like a bad name for this. Good luck playing with Scissors. Keep us posted. Yeah, I've heard that real coders code on a black IDE background. Is it true? Oh, however, they don't when streaming, and I need to finish this test API for another interview. Getting a job is so damn complicated. Or presenting at conferences. You're right. And tell you what, I'll change the background. Because my friend Suze Hinton, she's the original live coding streamer that I've seen. terrific. Absolutely amazing lady that's doing live coding for JavaScript and IoT. You got to check out her stream. She really knows her stuff around that. Had a great meeting with her last week in Seattle. Had dinner together, talked through a bunch of things, how to make our streams better together. And we've got some good things planned. Why is this general? There we go. I'm currently on blue. I'll go to dark for you. Just to satisfy Brendan there, we'll go to my dark theme. See, everything's dark now. There you go. And I don't like that font size. Font size on stream should default to 14. There we go. That's a little bit better. And these are even a little bit small over here. So I actually have a command installed called present on that'll make things just a little bit bigger there. Yeah, happy now, Brendan? There we go. All right, cool. Everybody likes the darker stream. We'll go with this for a little bit. So this is my configuration page, and calling it preview goal actually feels a little bit bad here. I'm actually not happy with that. I've really not thought too much about that. Right here. Right? I feel like that should be called configuration or configure goal. Because that's really what I'm doing, is I'm learning how to configure the goal. Let's rename it. I'm going to rename it configure goal. And I'm going to rename it over here. Configure goal. All right. So now I've got a configure goal here, but it's still listening on /preview. That's fine. We'll change this to configure. Now, because I didn't put a name on this, right? It's going to kind of blow up on me in some places. Here we go. If it returns a view, shouldn't the view be on its name? It doesn't have to be, right? I'm going to call this, configure. I'm typing. There we go. All of a sudden, my network over here to my other machine is going really slow. I bet you I'm going to get disconnected here. Watch this. Watch this. Bang! And right back connected. This is because the kids are in the other room watching Heartland. Yuck. Yuck. There we go. All right, so the name of my route is configure goal. And it's still going to take a second or two to come back there, isn't it? All right, and where is it? I thought I had name, order. Oh, the templates first. That's what I did wrong. Let's grab this and just put it over here. Put the comma there and get rid of this extra comma. So now my route template and then the name of it. Now here's the thing. I had followers goal preview in a couple of URLs, like hard-coded throughout my application. Let me go find it real quick and change it. So there it is, right there in one place. And I will change that to configure. What I really should do is take advantage of the route and do something like, well, this is actually an HTML page, so I have to hard code the route. Nuts. Let's come back to that. We'll figure that out more later. I think it's because I have some old PowerShell prompt settings somewhere that it conflicts with, but I can't remember where it's set. REST best practices suggest you use nouns in URLs, configuration, and make it a post or put. Well, this is actually a get, right? This is just me, right? So I will make it configuration. See, it's. So do I make it goal configuration? Right, that's a noun, and I'm not doing an update. This is a configurator, So configuration, put that there. But I will, let me go find that index page. Goal, configuration, there we go. Get configuration goal. Now, this is a page that allows us to play with the settings and generate a URL. So I'm going to stick with that for right now. Let me come back. We'll think about renaming that again. Where was I? So we've got my layout that I've built. And this, for some reason... Oh, okay. I'm all right with those. Let me see. So I've got my shared layout that I'm reusing, and I can put stuff in my shared layout. Ala Schmid? Welcome. Thank you for the follow. So I've got my very simple layout here, and if I wanted to put in a footer, right, I can easily, right, go footer at, no, copy 2018, Jeff Fritz and friends. All right. And then this will appear then on all my pages that are using this layout. So we'll take a look at that. Blah, 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 blah. So my index page doesn't use that layout, but my configuration page does. There it is. And where'd my footer go? Let's see. Where did my footer go? I am in this. Ah, it still has layout null. Alright, well let's get rid of some of this. Now I've got some style information here that I want to include in the header of my page. So what I can do is I can actually say at render section, right? And I can call this styles. And where is it? I can make it optional. Why am I not getting... Yeah, +1 overload. Where's my overload? I thought there was a way to make it... There it is. So I can say false. It's not required. Let's see, what do we have here? Methods function names are easier to understand if they are a verb. You're right. But in a controller, these are the names of the widgets that I want to present. So I want to make it easier to locate and find those things. So I've specified render sections. I thought I want to see that. Is it Control J? I want to see. For some reason, it's not showing me those overloads. Come here, you. Nope. All right. I'm going to specify that. And over here in my goal configuration, I can get rid of these things. And I could specify at section styles, right? And do that. There we go. Cool. And I can get rid of all this other nonsense down to here. Now I've got a bunch of scripts in here. It'd be nice to put those down at the bottom of the page. So let's... Now why did it do that? Why is it saying variable? It's not a variable. Maybe a styles queue would work better. What? Food's almost ready to be back in a few minutes. Hey, don't take off without giving some for the rest of the kids here. Is it? No, it's not at. I thought it was. I'm right. It is at lowercase section. And the scripts that I have down here at the bottom, I want to have the scripts. I want to make sure that they're at the bottom of my page below my footer. So I'm going to do a similar at render section, and I will call these scripts, and it's not required there either. So I'll do the exact same thing here. I'll go at section scripts, and There we go. So now I've got some scripts that it'll move always to the bottom, and I've got some styles that it'll always put at the top. So let's now take a look at that, and my configuration should now use that. 11:11 here. Food is at 11:30. Oh, well, not sure if ASP.NET got that. Various layouts adding some code to the section. I think I need to tell Nightbot to stop with the nonsense there. Let's see, what do we got? Uh-oh. The layouts view views layout CSHTML could not be located. The following locations were searched: views/layout CSHTML. What do you mean you couldn't find it? What do you mean? Let's see what I broke. View start. Do I have to actually say shared? I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to just say layout. Let me refresh and see if it finds that. There it goes. So it found it, and you see there it has my new footer on this page. And if I look at the source, you see my styles are placed at the top after the title in that section, and they're also injecting the scripts here at the bottom after the footer, just like those sections that I declared. Now, what if I actually want to reuse those things on different pages and put them in different things? If we have time, there's a PR regarding... I know, Bruno. Oh, that's what's coming up next. The other ways that you can include and build content to include here is you can actually move some of these components out into extra files. So I can actually move this footer into a shared component, a shared partial page. So let me create a new item over here. And I'm going to go into ASP.NET Core. I'm going to create a not a Razor page. I want an MVC view. And I'm going to call this underscore footer. Once again, underscore just as a technique to ensure that it's not accidentally called as the name of an action method. I don't want this to accidentally be included. And all that I'm going to do inside this is grab my footer element that's over here, paste it in here, save that, and my layout, I can now say render, where is it? I'll do html.partial, and I specify the name of the partial that I want, which is underscore footer. Right, and now I'm going to get this weird underscore. Yeah, you stink. There we go. Fantastic. So I'll save that. I've got my footer over there, and I'll refresh my page, and it still just works. I'll actually come into my footer now, and I'll put an HTML comment up at the top of this, coming from the footer partial view. All right, refresh that, Control U, and if I scroll down here, you can see it's including that from my partial view. So I've got it somewhere else, and I can update that, and I can change things, and it just works. Mixer is the Wild West for posting links. There isn't a bot monitoring Mixer. No, but I've got something better than a bot. I've got SpaceShot over there. What is the ASP way of adding multiple chunks of code from different views, templates, layouts to the same section? Let's take a look at that. All chatbots have trouble with us in .NET land because it will consider things like ASP.NET and Dapper.NET and so on as links. Lost. When are you doing, can I start over? No, I'm not starting over. I haven't used MVC in a while, but there was stuff like render partial and render action. Yes, and that's what I'm showing. So, right, you can do HTML partial. There is also, right, render partial, where not only can you specify the name of the object, but you can also, I'm not getting my IntelliSense popping up here. That feels bad. But you can also pass it the model that you want it to use. Bruno, now FritzBot needs to be named SpaceShot, just saying. And Meat Popsicle. I haven't used MVC in a while. Okay. So you can do that, and yeah, it actually wants to receive a model to pass in over there. Now, why didn't it actually take that? Yeah. I'm not sure why. But HTML partial does work and does what I need it to. So there it is. I'm going to go over to the footer, and I'm just going to make this center. So let's say style equals width 100%, text align, center, and things just look good. That refreshed automatically. I did not refresh that because I have browser link running. So that it looks good, that feels good. I'm pretty happy with that. So those are some of the things that you can use. I also want to show, finally, the last one that I want to show is something called a view component. Now, a view component feels a little bit like a partial, kind of like our footer over here, but you can put some server-side logic into it as well. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to go into shared, and I'm going to add a new folder called view components. And I'm going to right-click on that one, and let's add, let me see if there's a view component in here. I don't see it. So we're going to have to go rogue and build this ourselves. So I've got shared view components, and then I thought, gosh, do I have a shared inside of this? I'm blanking here on the docs. Docs, Microsoft, com. I'm forgetting the structure of the folder. Here we go. It's a view components folder. You decorate it with view component attribute. Yeah. Views controller name components. That's what it is. And then the view component name. All right. That's what it is. I haven't done this in a while. So now you would create a folder with the name of the component. Right? Yeah. So I'm going to create a new one here. New folder, and I will call this footer. And then inside of this, I'm going to add a new view, and I will call this, let's call it index. Default. No model, and I don't want a layout page. So we'll just add that. All right, I don't need all this other nonsense. And I'm just going to copy in what I have over here. And now what I can do is wherever I want to use this, inside of, well, actually I have to declare a class for it too. Where's the class? I'm going to create a folder first for these. Add new folder, view components. Now, the actual component itself is a class. All right. And I will call this footer view component. Until when do I stream? I usually stream till about noon Eastern time. So I'm going to inherit from, I should be able to inherit from view component. There it is. And I can decorate this if I want with the attribute as well. I don't think I needed to add an extra attribute to this. View component. Yeah, that's what I thought. So now, right, I can receive things from dependency injection, but I need to override this invoke method. So let's do that. It's going to return an I action result, and it's called invoke. And I can pass in different properties to it and call different things. All that I'm going to do is return view default. All right. Format all that. Why don't you like that? It's a view component result. Ugh. Yeah, this needs to be a view component result. There we go. Now, why don't you like that one? Do I have to put an I in front of this? Yes, that was it. Haha! Oh, look at that. We should put datetimenow.year in there. Fantastic. That's a great idea. So let's change this, and I will make it at datetimenow.year. All right, so this will be included from the footer view component. And inside my layout, where's layout? Wherever I want to use that, instead of saying HTML partial, I can now say at view component dot, come on, I thought it was dot invoke. I thought it was dot invoke. Right? That was the way you used to do it. Component invoke, that's it. And then I'll show you there's a cool new way to do it too. Component, invoke async, and right, I just want to do, no, it won't let me do invoke. I need to do invoke async. So let's come over here. This needs to be invoke async, which means we're returning a task of this. Where'd it go? Add my class. Yeah, I don't need an await. I need to put the async in front of it is the deal here. There we go. Now what don't you like? Make method synchronous. No! What do you mean? Heartland looks horrible. Yes, it does. Alright, so now back over here, I can say invoke async, and I can pass it footer, and it'll actually run my view component and put the output there. So let's run that. Build errors. Build errors. Default CSHTML. Ugh. Yeah, I don't care. Can I do return await? Nope, didn't think so. Is there a view async? Nope. Alright. That's not my error here. Yeah, that building? Build failed. Now look at all these things it's upset about. These it shouldn't be. No. That was the one I was... Look at this. The page views shared components folder default CSHTML execute. No suitable methods found to override. I didn't think I needed it. Why don't you need a wait in Razor? Why do I only see half the comments? What's the X behind everyone's names? Discord? No, that's Mixer. What you're seeing over there. Why don't you need a wait in Razor? You can do a wait in Razor. But I don't need it over here right now. But I'm in a controller here, and gosh, I'm equals await invoke async. The async method lacks await operators and will run synchronously. Yeah, I know. All right, go away. That's not my error. That's a coding issue here. All right, what it wants to do is, yeah. Hello, Echo. What? All right. Why? So why am I getting that error? Let me look one more time. That isn't a breaking error. Context doesn't exist in the current context. That should be okay. Oh, I'm not receiving a context. No, that should be fine too. Create the view component. I don't need a model. Inside my here. You're right, I need a weight there. But that shouldn't be breaking this. See, that feels really weird. No. No suitable methods found to override. Looking for execute. That feels... I'm not quite sure what's going on with that one. The name context does not exist in current context. See, and that's not there either. Right, I'm inside. This is inside this shared components folder, which it should work. I've created a bunch of view components in the past. Put it in views, shared components, view component name, view name. So view, shared component, priority list, default, CSHTML. Right. I've done the same thing. Invoking a view component, right? Component invoke async. And that gets passed in. Or you can do it as a tag helper. This is the cool new feature that we added as part of 1.1 that you can use. But you shouldn't have to do that. And I should be able to make this just a straight invoke. I don't have to. I didn't think I had to do. Maybe remove async. Jeff is streaming to 2 service. Some of us are watching on mixer.com. C#Fritz. Yes. Now that... over here... Well, if I remove that... Right? It wants... it... Right, I shouldn't be able to do that. It should be public async task invoke async. Right, and that shouldn't work. Okay, but it did work. Who knew? Right, should be declared to run task of T. Right, and if it's returning a task of T, right, a task of this component result, this needs to be async. Right, now I've satisfied that little grumpy thing here. That example has an await inside. There we go. Now it worked. Of course. Now it works. Of course. Right? And then coming from the footer view component. So you can reuse those view components wherever you'd like. Finally got it working. Including, so maybe you don't want to use it with this goofy @await syntax. You can use the VC prefix and just reference it directly like that, and now you have a tag that you can just drop in and use wherever. So it works on my configuration. There it is. And it should work on the docs page also. There it is down there. So that's view components. We've seen tag helpers in the past. We saw partial pages here today. And we took a spin through the docs to figure that out. So, any comments on Twitter that I need to look at here? Anybody saying anything silly? No. Oh, look, somebody leaked. Oh, man. Those weren't announced yet, and there's reasons they didn't announce it yet. And, yeah, we're working on this. That stinks. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul Thurrott. Somebody tell him. All right. So let's stop this. So now we've seen a little bit about how you can reuse code, whether you use a partial view or you use a view component or a tag helper. Bunch of different ways to do that. I would rather use the partial for this footer. So I'm gonna leave this code here so that folks can see it. But inside my layout here, I'm gonna get rid of this. And I'm going to get back to at html.partial footer. All right. And inside my footer CSHTML, I'm going to change that from 2018 to at date time now year. There we go. All right. So that all works. And thank you so much for the question about that. When is built? Yeah, I know. I get that question a lot, and they haven't announced it. And like I said, there's reasons they haven't announced it. Let's go back over to GitHub, and there is a really cool pull request sitting here at Google Fonts API query support. Bruno, you're a freaking genius. This is going to retrieve a list of fonts to allow you to interact with the list of fonts that you can choose for the configuration page, right? So you can build your followers, the followers widget that's up there up at the top. Let's take a look at that. So this is a couple of commits. Most likely of dates to change build 28. Yeah, I know. Yeah. A couple files changed here. Followers controller is taking in configuration. That's okay. All right. This app config equals app config. All right. So you're receiving the application configuration, and you're going and finding Google Fonts API key. You could store that in your user secrets file, or you can have it passed in. Bunch of different ways to do that. Cool. Did some formatting. Added font names here. And Google Font, input text ID font name, okay. And then a fonts panel. I guess that lets you select them. Let's give this a shot. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and bring down the changes here from Bruno. Ooh, wait. Got to commit my changes. I thought I was in PowerShell over here. There we go. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I know it's a violation, but I'm going to just add dot. Because I want to make sure I commit everything. All right. Discussed and showed partial views and view components. All right. Push that. That's not how you spell push. Oh, feels bad. All right. Git checkout dev. I should really merge that up. I'm not going to just yet. Let's merge in the changes here from Bruno. Give this a shot. All right. Let's take a look at how this works now. Poos beer, bush beer. Huh. The SpaceX launch. When is the SpaceX launch? So configuration. Font not supported by Google Fonts. So I don't have a Google Fonts API key here yet, right? And it's actually something user will be required to get an API key in order to use it. Avoid doing this on camera because the value will be displayed. Thanks! All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open a new audience, quick example. And all right, so you request your API key and it'll show you all those things. Acquiring and using an API key. Get a key. Neat. I will choose test. I should probably create a project here. Yeah, create new project. Sure. We'll call this Fritz Stream Tools. Name must be and contain only letters, number, spacers. You stink. Hyphen. That's better. Next. I'm going to move that down. Nope, I can't move it somewhere else. You're stuck here, buddy. I've violated things. Google is angry at me. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy that, close this, and on another browser that I'm going to move over here and do secret stuff on, I'm going to navigate there, and I'm going to click Get a Key. Now, while I'm getting that key generated by Mr. Google, Mr. Google? Mrs. Google. Something like that. I'm going to go here, manage user secrets, and the location for this is now, looking at this, where'd it go? There it is, Google Fonts key. All right. So we're going to create right off the top here, Google Fonts API. Oops. Key. And I will put my key in there. Now there's this really cool top secret feature. As I will probably copy the value that you need a secret scene in OBS that hides your desktop. No, I don't. Because Visual Studio has this really cool secret hiding feature. Check this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this. I'm going to scroll it just down the page there, paste it in, save, close, and now I have a secret. See that? That's how Visual Studio works and how you can hide things while you're on stream. Haha! See that? All right. A nice background for you in the scene. Oh, really? Nice background for me? No, I don't know. Don't open that file again. Maybe. All right. So now that that's saved in that file, let's see if I can go back over here, refresh this. Font not supported by Google Fonts, and yeah, okay. Let's restart. Stop. Restart. Load it. Must be that time. DJ Vortex taken off. Configuration. Here we go. All right, where'd the panel go? There was a panel here. Ah, look at that. Ooh. That's pretty cool. All right, try that one. Preview. Fancy. Look at that. I start typing, and it kind of navigates to where in that list. Pirata 1? What's that look like? That's a little bit hard to read. But very cool stuff. Look at that. Bangers. Really? Let's see that one. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. That's really cool. All right. Check console log. Check console log. I don't. Not that one. Nope, looks good. No errors. Looks really neat. So that was cool. So let's take a look at what Bruno put in here to make that work. And then we'll go and commit up those changes. So he added some way to read the configuration and pass that along. So he included inside the followers controller the ability to pass in the app config. Look at this command. Need auto preview after font selection. Interesting. Okay. So that configuration is brought in, and we're storing that somewhere locally here in a property called app config. And then inside our follower goal configuration here, where is it? Configuration.font name is what it's passing back. Right, so that's the actual font name that's currently been selected, that's been passed in here. But where are we using app config? Here we go. So in the preview, view back Google Fonts API key goes into app config Google Fonts API key. So I better not view source on that, or else you're going to see my API. All right. So now if I go over to, see, now that's going to feel a little weird. Okay. Well, so if I go followers and I go to preview goal, right? So this is still the old version of it before I did my formatting. Fill bar colors. There's my font name. Here we go. Supported fonts. Set supported fonts. There we go. So where's set supported fonts? What's that do? Google Fonts Adapter. Reference HTTP. Set supported fonts. Okay, local storage, get item, supported fonts, update font list, filter font list. Ugh. Okay, so update font list gets the font names, object, and then here's where it's loading up that preview of the fonts. All right, so there's a lot of JavaScript being added there to manage fonts. It's not bad. That's pretty cool. All right, but my API key is being dropped. Yeah, it's being dropped right here into the output. So it doesn't matter that I did that as a secret. It's being put into my HTML. Ugh. That feels weird. That feels bad. But I guess that's the way Google wants you to do it. Feels weird, but it's only me that's using this, so it's not that big a deal. Right? It's only ever going to be shown on my browser. So that's cool. That's all it's really doing, and it's loading up and it's building that selection panel that I can use. Cool. I'm pretty stoked about that. That looks and feels really cool. So let's merge that in. Terrific. And then I should go back over here and see that merge. Thanks a bunch for this cool contribution. All right. So now I should merge. Do I want to merge? Let's see, what do we got here? This is one I think we're going to talk a little bit about on Thursday with Brendan, is improving unit tests. I want to merge those changes. Yeah, look at that. What do we got if I merge that against dev? Ugh, not all the way to master. Dev. Can't automatically merge. Yeah, because I broke things. I'm bad. Yeah, we're going to have a problem merging this. It's going to be a mess. Maybe I can move the API request to the controller and save on view bag the resulting JSON. Maybe. Jeff, when you create the key in Google, you can restrict it by IP address. HTTP refers if that is an issue. I like it. So I'm going to go to my credentials page off screen here. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, boom, boom, boom. That's funny. I don't see. Oh, I'm on the wrong project here. Oh no, go away. Change. Ugh. I don't want the API library. I think I can show this at this point. There we go. So about this API, and where is it? I want to be able to restrict this. Is it a quota? Nope. Queries per day, queries per 100 seconds per user. Nope. Where is it? I want to be able to restrict. Look, there's my keys. Ugh. Restrictions, yes. Localhost. Same thing on this one. Localhost. What's this one upset about? Nope. Localhost. Cool. All right. So now you can only get it if you're localhost. Fantastic. Now what was that? It's funny. I got an invite to do an interview on campus, and I'm in Philadelphia. All right. This is going to be a mess. I don't want to get into this right now because I've only got about 12 minutes left. So I don't want to get into that. All right. So let me back out one from here. Create and save settings. Meh. Docs needed. Meh. Theme support. I eventually want to be able to do that. Current viewers widget. Let's take a look at the current viewers widget because there's some things that I would love to do in there that I just haven't yet. And what I want to do. Current viewers right now is a Razor page. Which PR, Jeff? I removed the PR. I didn't create the PR yet. I started creating it. Was like, no, this is going to be a problem. Trying to merge from unit tests into dev. And actually, there's a couple other branches out here I can get rid of, isn't there? Yeah, let me delete some of these other branches too while I'm here. So I don't need this one. And I don't need this one because I merged it. Fantastic. All right. So what I want to look at is inside my current viewers, I have this ability right now to output and list the current viewers, the count of the current viewers, not your actual names out there, but the count of those current viewers who are looking at the stream. So let's just take a look at this. So I'm going to run this, and this is a Razor page. It's very simple. It's just getting the data and bringing it back. So I'm going to go to /current viewers, and I just get a count coming back, right? Where's my count? There they are. 33 on Twitch, 11 on Mixer, 6 on my fake, and then this fake one should update every couple seconds here. But that looks kind of cheesy. I would really love to use the logos. And I think Font Awesome, Font Awesome has an icon for Twitch. It does. Does it have one for... Does it have one for Mixer? Loading the Awesome. No, it doesn't have one for Mixer. That feels bad. Did they call it Beam? Well, there's Steam. Steam's cool. So there isn't one. Is there one for YouTube? Of course there's going to be one for YouTube. Yeah. Facebook? Of course. But there isn't one for Mixer. Well, Mixer is kind of new. Yeah, you're right. So here's what I want to do. I want to bring in Font Awesome because it is the awesome font. And I want to use that Twitch icon. There it is. Oh, look, a Nintendo Switch. They've got a Nintendo Switch, too. So that's pretty cool. Where's that sample code? There it is. So that's all I have to do in order to use it. But I need to bring in Font Awesome first. So let's add Font Awesome into our project. That's it right there, is this script tag. So cool. So I'm going to go into current viewers, and right next to my other things, I'm just going to add a script. And what I can do, where is it? Instead of @service, right? I can say, let's do, how am I going to pivot if it's Mixer so that I get the Mixer? Maybe, oh, that's a good one. Maybe it has a Microsoft logo. Maybe it does. Let me go back one. There we go. Look at that. I'll just use the Microsoft one for Mixer. So I'm going to have to kind of pivot. I think that'll be okay. Service and viewer count by service. Order by descending. For Mixer icon, font awesome issues 11/242. Let's see. Right, github.com. github.com. Yeah, I know, we can still see the link. Yeah. Font awesome. Oh, it's font-awesome. Oof. Issues 11242. No. GitHub.com. Font awesome. I like to repeat myself. GitHub.com. Font awesome. Font-awesome. Issues 11242. Let's start here. There it is. No public repositories. Really? Really? Nope. Yep, I don't have access to it. That's Fort Awesome. Aha! That's why I couldn't find it. All right, and issues. There we go. Icon request. Ooh. Found them. Please take a look. +1s. Hey. Customize font awesome. Our wonderful online service which allow you to customize font awesome. All right, I'm not going to go through that. I'm just going to use the Mixer. I'm going to use the Microsoft logo for it just for right now, till we get that real one in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, right, where's the logo? It is like this. Let's copy that. And I'm just going to paste this in here. And instead of saying, I'll just copy that, paste that there, and then I can get rid of all this. Now, it's not going to work if it's Mixer. So I'm going to need to just do a little, and this is a complete hack. My apologies. Equals Mixer, and I think it has a cap in it. Then I will make it Microsoft. Otherwise, I'm going to make it service. Service. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. So it's going to do the automatic refresh, and hey, well, that doesn't look right. What did I do? FA. These need to be lowercase. All right, no problem. Piece of cake. Dot to lower invariant. Save that. Refresh. There we go. And the fake one just shows up fake. Yeah, that's fine. Fritz hacking. I love that we can still see the link. Yes. We'll fix that one too. So that's not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. And that fake count looks really weird. All right. I'm going to save that for now. And that's how easy it is to bring Font Awesome in and create and use icons with your project. Let's take a look at what's changed here. There we go. Good. Show me that it's, yep, just that one. Added Font Awesome icons for services. And we'll add more features to that later. I'll push that up. Easy. All right. I think that's all the time I have for today. We went through and we covered a lot, and I'm pretty happy with it too. We talked about different ways that you can reuse different components of your views inside Razor pages, whether it's HTML partials or it's view components. And we saw a little bit about how those function within the views folder over here. You have the exact same structure and the exact same features inside the pages folder. You can create a shared folder over here or a components folder, and you can hang those same features over here, and they're scoped to only those Razor pages. There is no way to kind of jump outside and use the same shared components across both Razor pages and traditional MVC views. So we saw how to do that, and there's different choices that you can make to interact and do those different things. We took a look at that new feature that was added into our project to allow us to choose fonts for our project using the Google APIs. And it was a simple, HTTP request to go get that list of fonts. And all it's doing is responding and writing those values into a little panel that we can see. So that's pretty cool. Real easy to do. I encourage you, if you're interested in learning more about that, take a look at some of this JavaScript that Bruno gave us here to format and place those options right here on the page. It's as simple as saying style font family and setting the text equal to the name of that font family. And he included a style sheet appropriate for those fonts. Really neat, simple way that he did this. It was just a matter of gluing all those pieces together. So, and then allows us to do some key in and do a look ahead as well. Very cool. Now, maybe we want to do some refactoring and move some of these things out into separate script files so it's easier for us to isolate and have those things in one place. Because I don't know about you, I'm looking at this page and I've got about 400 lines of code on it. And at least 300 of it, is JavaScript. So it might make sense to bundle that up and throw those in files on a different page so that they're all in one place and it could be easy to locate and work with. Am I going to the parade on Thursday? Meat Popsicle will be there freezing his butt off. I don't think so. Consider, and nobody's talked about this on the news yet, we're supposed to get 3 inches of snow on Wednesday. And then we're going to have 3 million people downtown Philadelphia with 3 inches of snow all over the ground. And the Eagles on floats going by. I think there's going to be a giant snowball fight in Philadelphia as the Eagles are parading by with the trophy. I think that's going to be a bad idea. So I'm going to have it up on video right here so I can watch it. Look at that. Brendan didn't go to their football parade. Cleveland has a football parade? Or are you referring to Ohio State? So, that's all the time I have for today. We've pushed up our changes. We've got some great things in here. If anybody would like to refactor some of this into some simpler sets of script pages, which we can also then use with our bundler config, be able to pull all those JavaScript files together as one and be able to reference it and use it easily inside of our code. You can take a look at doing that. I'll actually create it as an issue over here. It might be something fun for somebody to take a look at. Refactor goal configuration JavaScript. Create several external files. That's not external files that can be bundled together and outside the view. All right. And I will label that as a nice first issue. It's an enhancement. Help wanted. Oops. Submit that. Chris is trying to merge those features. Cleveland now holds the record. Yes. Good luck, Cleveland, on getting a win in the next few years here. You've got a long road. My gosh. All right. So next time, actually, Brendan there chatting in the chat room, he's going to be joining us, and we're going to talk about unit tests and improving some of the unit tests. I'm not sure if we're going to work inside the Stream Tools project here. It has a couple of tests hiding here behind me. Let me see if I can collapse that up. There's a couple of tests here that uses auto fixture and a couple different things. So we'll take a look and see where and how. We're going to discuss that, Brendan and I, in a meeting before the stream. But we're going to talk about good ways to build unit tests and how to structure things a little bit better than what I've done here, kind of just throwing it into a project. So that'll be on Thursday at 10 a.m. As always, the recording from this, we'll push that out to YouTube a little bit later today. But I got to run. I got a meeting I got to get to. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you next time.